During those years, especially in the beginning, did you ever think of throwing in the towel?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. The first 3 years was tough. Like it was really tough. It takes, 3 to 5 years to become an established agent, no matter where you are. But one thing that somebody had told me and it stuck with me, Rene, just put the hours in, just work and work and work. And one day when the checks start coming, it'll pay off.
Yeah.
And it did, right? So we all had a really good year in 2021 and the year before was a little better. But yeah, those first 3 years were tough. But yeah, no, it did though. But in the time, it will come back.
Welcome to the Nick Fong Podcast. As the broker and owner of Ronival Real Estate, Nick has spent nearly 20 years in Baja California Sur. And in this podcast, he'll be talking everything Baja, from food and culture to real estate and property management. And now, here's your host, Nick Fong.
Welcome back to the podcast. And today we have Rene and Brent. I wanted you two guys on the podcast because you, number one, haven't been on the podcast, but you two specifically have been in the company as sales agents, maybe for the longest of any other agent on the team.
Pretty close.
Yeah. So Rene, let's start us off. Tell everyone where you're from and how long have you been in Cabo?
I've been in Cabo since November 2016. I used to work oil and gas. I did 10 years in Alberta. And then I got sick of the cold and decided to go overseas for a bit and actually a change of schedule too. So I did 6 different countries, finishing off in Saudi Arabia after my daughter was born and decided it was time to do a career change.
So in 2016, you moved here, but when was your first time to Cabo?
First time to Cabo was 2010, actually. And I come every year for 5 years in a row for over Christmas break because I loved Cabo so much after the first time.
Yeah.
And then even December of 2015, I had no idea I was moving here 11 months later. I just made the decision that summer. Like I said, after my daughter was born, it was just a no-brainer. Career change, new baby, new life, let's go.
Yeah. And weather is a little bit better here?
Yeah. Then I'm from the west coast of Canada, Vancouver Island, Port Alberni. We get some of the second highest rainfall in all of Canada. So pretty wet from where I come from and pretty foggy. So yeah, the weather is definitely a plus here.
Okay, cool. And so you've been selling real estate for over 6 years now?
Just 6 years. We actually officially 6 years this January.
And so remind me, how long has it been that you've been with Ronival?
It'd be going on 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah, 5 years. Yeah. I spent a year with another company. They weren't really ready for where I was at the time. So decided just to reach out to you and move on. And things are great.
And so everyone knows Rene normally isn't dressed like this. And I remember when you interviewed, at the hotel, Los Patios?
100%.
And I remember the color shirt. It was a maroon red.
It's the maroon shirt. Actually, I had a couple interviews with you, so I wore them both.
The 2 shirts that you had that were button up long.
And then I knew that the third interview, because it involved real seal, I already had the job. I'm like, what's the point of doing this? You've invited your wife. I know where to go. Let's go.
I remember he was also very concerned about, because if you were wearing short sleeves, everyone would see your tattoos. And so you have how many tattoos?
10.
So, and you're getting another one.
Oh, I'm getting more.
Yeah. And so he doesn't look like all preppy and business-like. He's very much a Cabo professional, which is flip-flops, shorts, and tattoos.
But I do dress up, though, for my clients in the wintertime. It's a lot cooler.
Is that true, Brent? Do you ever see this guy like this?
Normally he's in a tank top and shorts. And
before the gym, yeah. Absolutely.
That's what I normally see.
Do you ever take your clients to the gym?
I've had a couple over the years, yeah. Well, they like to work out, right? It's just what you have in common with your clients. So.
Multitasking.
Yeah.
All right, Brent. This is my brother, younger brother. Tell everyone the first time you came to Cabo.
It was actually your wedding, January 2006. So every time I hear about your wedding anniversary, I get a reminder that was my first time coming to Cabo.
Okay, so that was almost 17 years.
We're approaching 17.
Yeah. And so that was your first time to Cabo.
Yes.
And when did you move here?
Just like Rene, November 2016.
Who started first?
With you?
Yeah, was it you?
I didn't start with you until 2018.
1 year later.
Oh, okay. You were
Yeah.
first. Okay.
Yeah. So
Just over a year.
yeah, I started, and then I was officially in the MLS that January.
Mm-hmm.
I remember touring with other agents.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't officially licensed, so kind of shadowing.
Right.
And did that for 2 months, and then started with you.
But tell everyone you actually were licensed and still licensed as an agent back in Illinois?
I am. Okay. So, yeah, I'm a broker in Chicago, and started in that 06, 07, like end of 06, beginning of 2007, right before the Great Recession.
Yes. And so before Ronival was the company it is currently with a lot of agents and staff, you were actually the one making my phone calls. And so you were, I think, fresh out of college, maybe at that time?
Yeah, I was kind of post-college.
Right,
So,
just after college, and you were living in Chicago, helping me with the business because I was a single agent, like a lot of you who are agents out there. And 2016, though, when the Cubs won the World Series,
Yep.
you were actually coming in October, but tell everyone about the conversation you and I had, why you delayed it a month.
Well, I think it was delayed a couple months. It was kind of August, and the Cubs were actually looking really good. They kind of drafted a couple extra closers, and to the point, I'm like, I think they're going to go to the World Series. And I'm like, I don't want to be driving back and forth or flying. And I told you, hey, I'm going to come in November. And after the World Series, I was anticipating them to lose in the World Series. But they actually won.
Right. So they win, you're celebrating, and days later, you get in your car full to the brim and you drive down the Baja.
So it was pack up my Lexus SUV to the gills and literally just straight to San Diego. And from San Diego down the Baja.
All right. And you've never looked back. And so it's been over 6 years that you've been here as a full-time resident. And Rene, tell everyone what it's been like for you transitioning from the oil fields around the world, the last place, Saudi Arabia, and living in Cabo selling real estate.
The
What's that like?
transition was obviously expected. It was different. Going from managing roughnecks and rig hands in the desert, whether it was in Saudi or Albania or Madagascar, or working in Canada. But yeah, it was working with people is obviously a lot different in this type of industry. So it took a little bit. I've never sold nothing before my entire life until I moved here. But I mean, I had the work experience and the persistence from my previous job. We would work 18-hour days in Saudi, so that was just a norm for me. So I wasn't afraid to get my hands dirty and dive right into it and make a career out of it. So
during those years, especially in the beginning, did you ever think of throwing in the towel?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. The first 3 years was tough. Like, it was really tough. It takes, 3 to 5 years to become an established agent, no matter where you are. But, one thing that somebody had told me, and it stuck with me, Rene, just put the hours in, just work and work and work. And one day when the checks start coming, it'll pay off.
Yeah.
And it did, right? So we all had a really good year in 2021, and the year before was a little better. But yeah, those first 3 years were tough. But yeah, no, it did though. Put in the time, it will come back.
And how was it for you, Brent, moving down here, starting a different kind of real estate career, selling real estate in the second home market?
Well, the first year was very successful, shadowing with other agents. What happened was 2018 was probably my slowest year. And that year was tough. It was adjusting, trying to figure it out like Rene. This job is not easy. A lot of people when I see them, like, oh, I'm getting into real estate. I'm like, great. Go pick up Audible, read some books, because the beginning is just begun.
Yeah.
So it's a road, a long journey that you have taught me. that there's a lot of pitfalls.
What are some of those pitfalls? What are some of the struggles as a
Well, you have to be able to carry yourself for at least a year and a half financially. Yeah. Speaking to people, like I always gave realtors a hard time when I was a rig hand, like, oh, they make too much and that job's easy. All you do is show houses. It's actually one of the most mentally draining jobs I've had. Like I would rather be out in the oil field some days because you speak to so many people, you put in all this time, this effort in the emails and videos, and sometimes they just end up going with somebody else, right? You know, the loyalty can be thin here and there, but at the same time, we have a lot of great clients that have stuck with us, right? But yeah, the hardest part is getting up every day and making those 200 to 300 calls through our quick dialer to get through to people and just keeping that contact. They say from what I've read, for every 13 people, there's a buyer. Whether they buy tomorrow, in 2 years, or in 2 months, you got to keep their interest. And you gotta get them to like you. You gotta get them to trust you, and then and hopefully by that time you'll have a transaction. And
in some cases, 10 years later, you'll get that transaction.
Yeah. No, I mean, we just like last year, I've had clients from my that have been with for 3-4 years now that are just starting to buy. It takes that long for you to build up that trust, or they're just not ready when they initially contact you.
Yeah, most of our clients don't need to buy a house here.
No, it's just.
It's a desire.
It's a second home. It's a second home market. Exactly.
But that has changed a little in the last 2 to 3 years for us, hasn't it?
More full-time people. Yeah.
Here. Yeah. Life changed a lot in 2020. Everybody just saw, why wait? Just go for it. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So just if you're thinking about moving to Mexico in 2030, do it now. What's holding you back?
Hey, thanks for being a part of the Nick Fong podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to get the latest updates. And if you're watching this on our social channels, please like and share. And if you want to be featured or you want me to talk on a certain topic, food, activities, culture, real estate in the Baja, drop a comment. So financially, if you're getting into the business, having a stash of money that can support you. You said 18 months. I say at least 6 months, because even if you're successful in the first 3 months, our normal closing will take 3 months to close, right?
Yeah, no, I'm being conservative. Have some money put away. But yeah, you can easily be making money within 6 months, but you have to apply yourself. We've got almost 1,000 agents here now in Cabo. We, on average, used to have 500. That would drop down to 250 in the summertime as per usual, and now we're up to 1,000. So we expect that it's probably going to drop off again. But yeah, out of those 1,000 agents, you have a core number of agents that are actually making those sales and doing the work and really putting themselves out there.
So Brent, selling real estate for 6 years in Cabo, what do you know now that you wish you knew 6 years ago?
Good question. So, for me, I guess COVID was March 2020. We went in complete lockdown. So I kind of split my career post-COVID or after COVID and before COVID. So my career post-COVID, I really focused on learning the Bible, putting principles in the Bible in my life. And pre-COVID, it was kind of more partying, like enjoying the life of being down here.
Right.
Not taking it as serious. And in this business, you have to really take it serious. And you instilled in me is who you surround yourself around.
Right.
So that's one thing to focus on. Education.
Yeah.
So I wish I picked up Audible like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Invest in yourself.
Okay.
That little money. It only costs $15 a month. So I invested in myself. So I would do that again.
Okay. So you would have taken your career a little bit more seriously. You would have been educating yourself since the beginning, right? Whether that's reading books, listening to books, surrounding yourself by people that are at or even better at a higher level than you, so you can learn from them. Rene, same question. What would you have done differently, knowing now what you do?
Back then,
Yeah.
more videos, content.
Yeah.
Because that is really what makes you stand out these days. I mean, we live in a world that is all social media. It's TikTok, it's Instagram, it's Facebook. Whether we like it or not, this is the way the world is going. So people seeing your face, getting an idea of your personality through your videos. And again, just liking you for that matter, and then reaching out to you. But yeah, definitely that. Patience is a good one too. You know, I've always had very little of it. So going from rig hand to real estate agent, okay, I had to adjust there. But yeah, no, like I said, put in the hours, it'll come, you know, and just stick it out with your clients. And like Brent said, to reiterate, just educating yourself all the time and being on top, knowing your market, knowing what your client's looking for, extremely important.
Okay. Tell me about if it's not selling real estate, what is it about living in Cabo that you like the most, Brent?
The lifestyle. So what I realized, we living in Chicago, not just the weather, but the quality of life. You know, I felt moving here that my remainder of the years around on this planet, it's going to be better. You know, not gonna slip on ice.
Yeah, no ice in Cabo.
Living up in the northern regions.
No more snow tires.
You know, just eating.
How about those snow tires? I had snow tires on my last vehicle in Chicago, and I had to change it every year, twice a year.
Yeah.
Come winter, change the tires. Come spring, change it back to the regular summer tires.
You know, driving in the sand is very similar to driving in the snow.
That's
so.
true.
I disagree.
It's not as slippery. But just you know, realizing that this is a better quality of life.
Why? What makes it better quality?
You know what? Less traffic, less people, slower pace. Okay. We're busy though, so it seems like we're in this hectic, crazy zone.
But you choose to do that, right? And when, at least for me, coming from Chicago, you in Vancouver, you're amongst all that craziness, and you just get swept into it.
Absolutely.
And it's like 10 years go by, and you're like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah. And you know, obviously we still have governmental structure here too, but it also feels more free. Like it doesn't feel as restricted, if you will, as back in the US and Canada. So the weather, it's great. The people are amazing. And just being able to go to the gym any time of the day without having to worry about, you know, putting on a parka and like you said, warming up the vehicle for 20 minutes.
I remember, I don't know if you remember, Brent. So growing up, one of my first cars, this was when I was in high school, when it got really cold, it wouldn't start. And so I had to, there was this oil dipstick that you put into your engine, and then you plugged it in. Yeah. So it kept your engine warm. And it was the most ridiculous thing in the world.
We call them block heaters in Canada. I had 2 of them on my vehicle.
That's just horrible. Like, no person should live like that. You got to come to the Baja.
Survival of the fittest. Yeah.
So where's Brent in 5 years?
Wow. So Brent in 5 years. So that would make me, I'm going to be 44. So 49, let's say round it up to 50. You know what? I always envisioned 50 years old, kind of financial freedom, you know, kind of choose what I want to do. Yeah. You know, probably travel a little more freedom. But you know what, with your systems here, building a team, right? You know, being better at that. We're learning, you know, every day how to
lead people.
Lead a team. So I guess mastering that and being a master coach like you, and just keep on getting better. I don't see myself maybe in Cabo full time, you know, somewhere else in Mexico or somewhere else in South America. Or United States. So, you know, Cabo is always going to be a home for us.
Cool. 5 years, Rene, where are you?
Still here in Cabo, like back and forth between Canada. My daughter's there, so I spend quite a bit of time with her now, but I'm going to spend more time with her.
Yeah.
I'll be 51 by that time. I'll still be working out. I'll still be working for Ronival. The company is big now and will be bigger in the next 5 years.
Right.
That there's so much room for advancement and growth within the company. Yeah, we'll still be working together, guaranteed.
Cool. Excellent.
And it's like Brent said, travel, financial freedom, just enjoying life to the fullest.
Well, I appreciate both of you. Because I'm super proud of each of you, the growth that you've had, both professionally, financially, and also just fun to be around. And so thank you. And for all of you listeners and viewers, if you don't know Brent Fong, if you don't know Rene Cyr, look them up. They're great, great, great agents. They're great people. And until the next one, bye for now.
Thank you. You guys did good. You guys did good.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ronival Real Estate and follow Nick on Instagram at NickFong_Ronival. Ready to find your Baja dream home? Check out the latest property listings at Ronival.com or FindMexicoHouses.com. Hasta luego.